What's going on, Donut Friendly Nation? Matthew Spear from the Donut Friendly Show. Seems like we were just together last night, and I told you everything was going to be okay. I told you relax, and yes, I knew he was in custody last night, and most of you who know me after 5 years knew that I knew that, but I couldn't say that. Because there's something called integrity, folks, but all the signs were there as I hinted to you the timelines of how long this would take, and all I can say is the media is slow and the internet is fast. Be patient. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about the FBI. We're going to talk about the announcement. I'm going to tell you what I knew last night. I'll tell you what I know today, and I'll tell you what tomorrow will bring. Because the prognosticator of prognosticators seems to have a streak that just won't quit. We'll be right back. Here we go. See you guys in a few minutes. Hang tight. All right, folks, we're going to fast forward the intro. So I know everyone wants to watch the press conference. Of course, I'm recording because I like to have a little bit of a buffer on these things. But yes, we have so many people on, 300 plus already. I will go ahead and fast forward the damn commercial. Jeez.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
All right, we're going to go right into the press conference. Most of this stuff you've heard last night. I'm going to kind of fill in the gaps. People have questions. Why didn't we see the rifle on the roof? Well, I can explain that. Matt, why did they release so much information last night? I can explain that. Matt, when did you know? You told us Kash Patel was going to be there. You told us Dan Bongino was going to be there. You told us that they were going to have the shooter within the next 12 hours. How did you know these things? Well, it's pretty simple, and I'll explain it to you. But first, let's watch this. It's good to have everybody here. Thanks for watching. Do I seem excited? Yeah, I'm excited because justice will prevail and this son of a bitch needs to pay. And let's go ahead and give him his due process. Let's give him his trial. Let's do all the things that we're supposed to do as Americans, but then let's go ahead and fry the son of a bitch. I'm mad. And you should be too. Let's watch this and we will do it together. And I've recorded it for you and we're about a 5-minute delay. Let's go ahead and just see what happens.
Excuse me, 7,000 leads. As it crossed over, you saw some. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
I want to let you know something real quick, and then I'm going to shut up and we're just going to watch this. But the we got him, I got that text myself, and I got it about 5 minutes before the president went on Fox News. And I'll show it to you, and it was probably one of the coolest things ever. And it was my Osama bin Laden, sorry, I can't even talk. My Osama bin Laden moment in since I've been doing this. And it was pretty emotional. I'm not going to lie. I was on right afterwards, and you guys can see I was a little red-eyed and teary-eyed. Let's go ahead and listen.
11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th.
I apologize. That's my messenger, folks. I'm muting it right now, but that is what it sounds like with the amount of information that I get on a daily basis. So I'm putting on Do Not Disturb. I apologize. That's the beep, though.
Now, on video, in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact name Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there has been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow, Chow."
Really? Folks, this is the text that I got this morning early. And this one came fairly early this morning. And I can also tell you around 11 o'clock last night is when the father reached out after the minister's point of contact and encouragement. So yeah, this came in this morning. And trust me, it was very, very difficult not to say something until President Trump did. But this is what I saw. I was in the shower and it hit, and the person I've blocked out their picture and their name because we're not going to do that. And when I got this, I cannot tell you how quickly I got dressed and got on the patio and started recording. So it's pretty amazing.
Bella Ciao, 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 and a third unfired casing read, if you read this, you are gay, LMAO. We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who has worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah. But I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone.
Before we get to Kash Patel, I'm going to be doing what I can to influence this, but there needs to be a national day of remembrance for Charlie Kirk. As Martin Luther King was a pioneer for the civil rights movement, I think Charlie Kirk was a pioneer for the spiritual movement in this country and the resurgence of Christianity. I will be doing what I can to put those comments in words that are a little bit more profound and a little deeper in thought. But I believe that there should be a national day of remembrance. He meant so many people, and we need to get it into the works. Here's Kash Patel. Our director. FBI Director Kash Patel, and then we'll get into some details in regards to what we covered last night and why some of the things, why did the information flow come out the way it did, and I'll kind of explain that to you.
FBI Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops.
What?
The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilize these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency.
Correct.
The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake field office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all part.
Sorry to interrupt, just because we have to interrupt a few times or copyright will kick in and they'll shut down the feed. Fox is usually pretty good about that, actually, with us, but we want to do it anyway. Want to thank you for the almost 1,000 people on Twitter. Is absolutely going ballistic, having close to 800 people on YouTube. Of course, you're throttling this. You guys don't want good news. Of course not. We're conservatives. And Facebook doing very, very well on our legacy channels. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. We're going to have some comments after this. This is an unscheduled broadcast. We've been covering this all morning. We broke the news to you guys. We were right there. We put it out fairly early, and I got a message traffic flash at around 7:42 a.m. just stating we got him. And that was before President Trump had just come on and announced it. And we held the news because it's not our story to tell. We had the patience just to sit back and I was in the shower. Of course, I ran out and I showed Olivia and she flipped out, and the source that we had was extremely good and trustworthy. And it simply came across our screen just like this. We got him. And it was an amazing thing. You guys saw our coverage last night, and we tried to encourage and let you know that it was very, very positive. The things that they had, there was an orgy of evidence, things you haven't even heard of yet, which you probably will hear from Director Patel shortly, or maybe not. And then obviously the flushing that they did last night was to push this person out and to have all sources of sanctuary be turned against him, and exactly what happened. And we talked about it. First 24 hours, they tighten the noose, they close it, they try to put pressure in that area, and with blockades and with door-to-door knocks and witnesses. And then once that 24 hours is there, they kind of let it open up a little bit, release some evidence, release photos and pictures, and have the people of the community turn on him. And that's exactly what happened. And they had him within 3 or 4 hours of that happening. So my understanding is 11 p.m. last night. They may say this or not. The father was approached by the minister who recognized him, who worked with the police departments, and convinced him to turn him in. So there is also communication between the assailant and other parties. This is not done. This investigation will continue to unfold, but this is the the information as we know it as of right now. This is about 10 minutes behind. Some of you may have heard this, but we're going to continue to talk about it, and we wanted to welcome everybody on. Thanks for letting me take a pause. Here we go.
Participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk. Rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community, because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family, because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here, and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country, and violence is tragic everywhere. And every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on...
Brian is saying, what's up with the cowboy hat? It's Utah, bro. It's Utah. The same as Texas, same as Colorado. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's just the way it is.
And it is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act...
Yeah, so all I'll say is that perhaps if you're not mentally okay, it would be better to listen instead of jumping on members who've been here for years as well as you. Nick is a friend of the show, and we don't need to be attacking people. We got rid of that a while ago, Angel. So if you're not aware, the people who muck up and attack people all the time, our show's better that they're no longer here. So we just don't do that stuff anymore. So why don't we just have a conversation and listen and be supportive and try not to attack people? But we don't do that anymore on this show.
Of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Even, especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been.
Amen.
As sad as I have ever been.
Amen.
And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country.
Go get them, Governor.
As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life.
Amen.
It's going to be okay. He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody
No,
and will be charged soon.
I disagree that.
And will be held accountable.
I disagree with that. Sorry.
And yet, all of us
That's a
have an
politician's
opportunity right now to do something.
That's a politician's answer. He's got to say that. But no, it's not just one person's responsibility. There are thousands upon thousands of people who are responsible for this. These are the people who have castigated aspersions on Republicans. And it started in 2015 when Donald Trump came down the escalator and calling us baskets of deplorables and called us gun-toting and Bible-thumping, uneducated rednecks in the flyover states. Calling us the uneducated party, calling us Nazis, xenophobes, transphobes, homophobes. The constant insults, saying that we're a threat to freedom and democracy, saying that we're extremists, saying that we are the white Christian nationalists, that we're racists, that we hate America, that we are a threat to the country. That parents who question what happens in schools, that we are the problem and that we are terrorists, domestic terrorists for questioning what they're teaching our children in school, that we hate gay people simply because we want our children to be left alone and to be with God and with the family and for their country, that we aren't patriots. These are the people that have been saying it. These are the people that made it open hunting season on Republicans, and you want to sit here and say that it was only one man responsible? No, you're wrong, sir. You're absolutely wrong. This is a complete 100% persecution of Christianity, as it has been for thousands of years. Christians, hands down, are the most persecuted people on the planet, and Charlie Kirk was the resurgence of Christianity in America. Bibles were selling, registrations at churches and donations were increasing. We saw Christianity for the first time in 20 years actually move upwards. The proverbial upside-down hockey stick that has been Christianity in this country saw 93% of people believe in some form of organized religion in the United States 25 years ago, and it fell to 71% and was on the trajectory of below 50% for the first time ever in world history. That is the truth. And people like Charlie Kirk were the resurgence. They were the people who brought the word of God, and they used the filter of loyalty to Christ and that Christ is king, and they killed him for it. And just like they killed Martin Luther. And that was a Democrat too. So you can sit here and you can say it was one person who pulled the trigger, but the powder was packed tight long before that child decided to go ahead and murder him. And it was stoked with the fires of evil, demonic, and satanic people who want to see the destruction of Western civilization in the light of Christ in this country. So how dare you? Whether you are right with 99% of what you said, that is the problem. And it undercuts everything you just said.
This bad stuff happens. And for 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say.
Then you should pray, why is Utah turning purple? Why is Utah moving towards liberal ideology? Listen, I'm not coming down on Spencer Cox. I got to give him credit. It's a beautiful speech, but don't undercut this moment by trivializing what took place. This was a coup d'etat against Christians and against white people and conservatives. And when I say white people, I don't mean that there's not black conservatives, that there's not Hispanic conservatives. That's not my point. The attack was on Charlie Kirk because they called him a white nationalist. They called him an activist. They called him an extremist. They called him a Nazi. Therefore, it is racially motivated. In no way, shape, or form am I playing the card that only white people suffer today. That is not my point. Everybody loved Charlie Kirk, who actually listened to him. And even the people who opposed him respected him for at least allowing a conveyance of thought to happen other than screw you, dude, you trumpet, you maggot, you libtard. They at least respected him for that. So this is not racist for me to say that this was an attack on a white Christian. That is what they described him as. He is American. He is a patriot. He is a Christian. He is a father. He is a son. He is a husband. And all of those things, all of those monikers transcend anything about his skin color. But the people who killed him specifically used that language against him. It needs to be recognized.
We don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us. But I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last 2 nights. There was no rioting. There was no looting.
Come on, dude, you're losing
me. There were no
me.
cars set on fire.
You're losing me.
There's no violence.
You're losing me. No violence.
There were vigils.
Come on, dude.
And prayers. And people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes. Because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse.
How about we do accountability
these are
first?
Choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency.
Okay, I was okay if he just would have shut up about 5. Now I'm pissed. We're not the ones that need to turn. We've already bent over backwards. We've already accommodated. We've been shot at. We've been spit on. We've been doxxed. We've had the IRS leashed upon us. We've had CPS come into our homes and try to take our children away because we stand up to the school boards. We've been censored. We've been defunded. We've been debanked. We've been thrown in prison without due process. We've already turned the other cheek. This isn't a we thing. Accountability is not violence. Accountability isn't racist. Accountability isn't hatred. There needs to be a reckoning. And the reckoning needs to be with the media and the politicians who stoke these flames and encourage. What do you think was going to happen when you said that Adolf Hitler was in office? What did you think was going to take place? What did you think when you said that Donald Trump and Republicans want to cattle cart transgenders and put them in concentration camps? What did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen when they said that they were going to stop abortion in all states and women would have to go to a coat hanger in an alley again like the 70s? What did you think was going to take place? What did you think was going to happen when despotism was the leader of your party? When you embraced Darwinism and you took the light of God out of people's hearts? When you said science was morality? and morality could not stand in a theological country, in a theologian society, in a society that believed in God, could no longer be ever present to the challenges that the earth might face unless you embraced science and despised religion. What did you think was going to happen when you took it out of our schools? What did you think was going to happen when you tore down the American flag and you replaced it with a rainbow flag and you told people that sexuality is what defines them and not the content of their character? You don't even listen to Martin Luther King, yet you claim him. But what did you do to his people? You enslaved them yet again. You didn't need the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment. You needed crack cocaine. You needed unfair criminal laws. And you needed to stick them and make them dependent on the government as you destroyed the patriarch and matriarch of their society. This is what you did. You have enslaved millions of black people. You have killed hundreds of thousands of black youth. You have aborted millions of black babies from eugenics. And you sit here upon high and you tell us that we're supposed to, this is our turning point. We've already rounded the corner. We passed it a long time ago. It was called 1960. We turned that corner when they took John F. Kennedy from us. We turned that corner when they stole Martin Luther King. We turned that corner when you shoved American young men and women into a war that was absolutely needless on more than one occasion. We turned that corner when you lied to us repeatedly over and over. We turned that corner when you failed us from an intelligence standpoint that killed Americans. We turned that corner when you shoved 20 million illegals and locked us down and shut down our businesses and bankrupted us over COVID, and you allowed unvaccinated people by the droves to come over our border. How did you expect us to take you seriously? You've allowed our education system to fall where STEM is literally an afterthought, that you care more about gender studies and people's sexuality and what's between their legs than what's in between their ears. You've institutionalized mediocrity. You've apologized for failure. And you want to sit here and say that there's a turning point that needs to take place in our movement. Our movement is standing by and waiting for you to turn the page, waiting for you to do something, to hold people accountable who've stolen from Americans, who's used our money and put us $37 trillion in debt on the precipice of bankruptcy, not just from a financial standpoint, but morally. We are leaderless and you are godless. You sit there and pontificate and spin your webs. You use your talking points to get votes and get political action money. You sell yourself to the highest bidder and then you question us when we want to try to go ahead and make ends meet from point A to point B. You tax us into oblivion. You regulate us into frickin' bankruptcy. This is the problem. You could have stopped in the first 5 minutes and it would have been fantastic, and then you had to destroy it, and you showed who you really are. You are complacent, and you are an enabler, and you should stand up there and do exactly what Donald Trump did, which is to call these people out and do not let them off the hook. They want peace now. You want to have reasoning. You want conformity now. You castigated us from this country. You labeled us as the worst parts of the world's history. You called us Nazis. And now you want peace? Peace is never, ever done that way. You don't lop people's heads off in order to find the people who are then broken, who will not fight, who will not stand up, because you've killed all the ones with a backbone. I'm here to tell you, you created millions who no longer care about how they are rated on earth. Nick Freitas said it best. Charlie Kirk lived like a person who cared more about what the good Lord had to say when he arrived than what people on earth said about him when he leaves. And you have created millions of us who feel the same way. Our reckoning will come by a higher power, and it will not come with you. Not only does the Constitution forbade it, we don't answer to you, you answer to us. And all of us answer to the Lord and will one day. A turning point.
And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me. I'll just conclude with with words I share often from a friend and author, Yuval Levin, who was asked if he was optimistic about our country. And he said, I'm not optimistic. He said, I hate optimism. God, that sounds bad. But he said, optimism is a vice. It's this idea that good things are just going to happen. And he said, in the history of the world, good things have never just happened. He says, I'm not optimistic, but I am hopeful. And hope is the virtue that sits between the vices of optimism and pessimism. Hope is the idea that good things are going to happen because we can make them so.
Okay, Obama.
I still believe in our country. And I know Charlie Kirk believed in our country. I still believe that there is more good among us than evil. And I still believe that we can change the course of history. I'm hopeful because Americans can make it so.
Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Way to make it about you. Sorry, you know what? Not the time. Not the time. I would love to be inside Kash Patel's brain right now, just looking at his eyes like, what? Let's go ahead and hear his questions and answers.
You indicated whether the suspect is speaking with authorities and his demeanor, Tyler Robinson, when he turned himself in.
I cannot speak to that.
Governor, how do you interpret the engravings on casings?
Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not. And by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. That's I think that speaks for itself.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating.
Please.
Talk about this level of hatred that this person expressed. Beyond that, is there anything in your view that you discovered that may have radicalized or changed him to prompt him to commit such a horrific?
There's nothing more that we can share at this time.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating with a friend on Discord about the gun. Do you anticipate any more arrests?
We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests. Yes, but the investigation is ongoing.
So that means the lawyer of the person who was communicating with the assassin has lawyered up. So that means it's an investigation standpoint. It's already been turned over to lawyers, and now we just wait and see. That's what that means. Trust me, they've already contacted those people, and they've already coordinated. They knew about this at 11 o'clock last night. There's a reason why they waited till the early morning hours. There's a few reasons. We'll go into it in a second.
How he came into custody of police and where he is right now?
Yes. So right now, Mr. Robinson has been booked into the Utah County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody. That his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him in. Please, go here. I can't share any more than what I've already shared. Yeah. So how we obtained the gun was found here. Yeah, so I don't have much more details on that. We do know that he drove. We had his car here. on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County.
Talking with authorities, did he discuss a loading?
I'm sorry? We don't have any information that would lead us to believe that. Yes, in fact, it was just.
Listen, I will tell you that this governor is not making people happy. You should step aside, shut up, and let law enforcement take care of this and answer these questions. Nobody wants to hear from you. You've said enough. Like, I know grandstanding when I see it. I've done enough public speaking. I understand that this guy's, running for some sort of campaign, and he turned this entire press event into a re-election speech. But sit down and let the police talk. Let the heroes of law enforcement. Why don't you put the U.S. Marshals up, who I know are in the room right now, and had a pivotal role in this? Why don't you give the accolades to the people who actually did the work? Because there's U.S. Marshals that need to be recognized. There's rank and file FBI that need to be recognized. You notice how Dan Bongino isn't up there? You notice how Kash Patel was in and out in just 2 minutes? Take a lesson, buddy.
I can't answer that right now. Yeah, thank you. Over here. I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history. Yes. The question is, what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history, or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look. I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country,
you can feel the tension in the room. I'm sorry, I was muted my mic because my daughter was here. You can look at Kash's face. He's just like, dude, please just stop.
Country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late 60s, and having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets. We are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral.
Dude,
this is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your...
I'm sorry to say this, but if it wasn't for social media, half the shit we know about these things would never be known. I'm a little tired of saying that social media is toxic. No, social media censoring the voices of people and not allowing the truth to escape the vacuum of the algorithm, that is what is toxic. Because you have a narrow viewpoint of just a very small amount of people being pushed down the throats of Americans. And it started with DEI and the rainbow flag and all this other bullshit, and that sexualizing children was acceptable and late-term abortions were okay. Give me a break. It's not the information that's the problem. It's the throttling of the truth, which is the issue. And we learned this from the Russian collusion, the Hunter laptop, the COVID trials, and the lockdowns, and everything else. The internet is what brings shit to light. And if it wasn't for places like this and shows like this and the other shows who set and blaze the pathway for shows like me to start, we wouldn't have any truth. So give me a break, dude. This guy is he's making me unhappy.
Hug a family member. Go out and do good in your community. That is happening, and it's happening organically right now. I had a friend in a small city in Utah who said,
No, Mariah, social media isn't toxic. People allow themselves to be poisoned. This is no more evident than the last 36 hours where people said that this person was a hired assassin by the Jews that went off on a secret flight and that a flight disappeared. That this person was a trained assassin in full tactical SWAT gear. That said that Charlie Kirk had a ring and it was AI and that he's actually laying low and he's not dead and they arrested him and he's in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. That's none of that is toxic. None of it's toxic that said that he deserved to die. None of it's toxic that said that he was a Nazi. The only time it becomes toxic is when we consume it without question and we regurgitate it and process it and disseminate it to other people. That's when the toxicity starts. You have a choice. You can question, and we did. For 36 hours, we've done nothing but get this right. And the reason why is because we have not allowed the toxicity to thrive in our environment. We refuse to feed it to our fans and feed it to the people who listen and trust this show. Toxicity can be neutralized. And it doesn't matter whether it's an antidote. It doesn't matter whether it's some form of sulfate. It doesn't matter whether it's an acidic property. Whatever it is, toxicity can be neutralized. And the neutralization of toxicity is truth. So I don't think social media is toxic. I think the consumption of it without thought is most assuredly creating toxicity in this country. But it's not the same thing. And I'm not challenging you. I'm not coming down on you. I agree with you that there is misinformation out there. I agree with you that there is terrible information, but there is also truth here. And I swim in it every single day. I process and disseminate information every single day that I choose to follow through to ensure that it is 100% correct. And if it's not, I do not share it. There is a choice. And it doesn't matter whether this was in print. It doesn't matter whether it was over the radio waves. It doesn't matter whether it was from the printing press. And it doesn't matter whether it was with a charcoal press. It doesn't matter whether it was a hand-scribed note on parchment. Toxicity has been around forever. You can go back to Goebbels in 38 and 40 and look at the posters that were printed. You can go back to Aaron Burr. You can look at Alexander Hamilton and look at some of the printing press, what they did to Franklin, what Thomas Edison did to people like Nikola Tesla. You can go back to the pharaohs and what they did to the slaves. We can look at the gold stars over the businesses in the poor quarter in Germany. Toxicity has always been around. Propaganda has always been around. But all it takes is for honest people to actually speak up, to defend the right for honesty and truth and light. So this is just a new form of communique, and it's always the same. There are always people who want to destroy it and fill it with hate, and there are people who want to protect it and fill it with light. I think it's choice. That's just my opinion.
Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion tonight, last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this could be. I mean, you know, again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975.
Dude.
But I know that things were really dark in the
Shut
late
up.
60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there. I think it's important.
God, he's still talking. God, shut up,
Confessed.
dude. I talk
Tyler
a lot
Robinson,
too.
age 22, not.
We have 3 days for charging documents to be filed. A CI will be filed.
All right, that's good enough. We got what we need. God, I can't believe we kept engaging. And Mariah, I understand what you're saying. I'm not coming down on you. I'm not attacking you. You're right. There is toxicity in social media, but that's not all it is. The best analogy I can give you is that there are poisonous plants in the wild, some of the most vile. And through survival training and other types of training in the military, you learn to identify these plants, and it's hilarious. God works in mysterious ways. But some of the most toxic herbs and plants and flowers in nature will be growing in an open field, just laying there to be consumed. And the cure is usually right next to it. And that is what social media is to me. There is toxicity. There are poisonous mushrooms. There's poisonous plants and herbs. There are roots that can kill you. We know this. But right next to it is something that can help alleviate the symptoms of that ailment or cure them right in the vicinity. And that is truly the epitome of paradise and the snake and the apple and the euphemisms that are in those parables. Our salvation is there, and so is our demise. And it doesn't matter whether it's firearms, it doesn't matter whether it's pornography, it doesn't matter whether it's consuming certain types of foods. Abundance of anything is bad in any way, from a philosophical standpoint, an existential standpoint, from a theoretical standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint. And an overabundance of anything is bad. And I don't believe social media is the only cause to the downfall of society, because it wasn't rock and roll at one point. It was Dungeons and Dragons at one point. It was other religions like Mormons and Baptists and Latter-day Saints who were a threat to religion. It was too much government. It was too little government. It was the Arabs. It was the Jews. And it's always something. There's always something. And it doesn't matter where we are. People weaponize lies to subvert the truth. And although I agree with you that the current flavor of the week is social media as being toxic, but like I said and made the comparison contrast to the wild, is yes, the poison is there and the antidote is also right next to it. And we have a choice. It's you have a choice of what to consume. Here's the thing. And the craziest thing about this is that we are an operation. We are in our house. This room is 22 feet by 12 feet. We used to be in like a 10-foot by 12-foot room. We were in there for 4 years. This was paid for by users. There's no corporate sponsorships. We get sponsored by Wimkin. By the way, go over to wimkin.com. 9 million social media users, a place you can get the truth. Speaking of social media. And we are self-funded, self-built, self-taught, self-sufficient, self-everything. We do it. We do it all. We control the cameras, we control the scripts, we control the writing, the lighting, the whatever writing is for the show, the graphic design for the show, the distribution of the show, the dissemination of the show. Everything is us. And the most interesting thing about that is that there are multimedia companies out there worth billions of dollars, billions, who have hundreds of staffers at Fox News and CNN and MSNBC and, One Nation and RSBN, which is a small time like us, but they just have a big look presence. But they're one of the good guys. And these multimedia conglomerates, all of them, with their hundreds and thousands of sister affiliates and smaller stations for the national news, they literally have a network of intel that I can't even begin to describe to you of how big it is. And we beat all of them in the last 36 hours. The information came in faster. It was more honest. It was more direct. The coverage of Charlie Kirk was spot on. We explained to you, yes, we prayed and we put our hands together, but we were honest with you and told you that we didn't feel Charlie was going to make it through this. We used expert analysis. We used people who understood these type of things to give you the best information possible. We used human intelligence sources and electronic sources that have been cultivated over decades of service. Between myself and Leroy and the contacts we've made, Olivia and Amy as well, who have built nurturing relationships with people in the know that trust us to have this information, because we always ask the question, is it okay if I share? This station, this channel that influenced over 75,000 people last night and the night before, that has influenced 76 million people in the last 28 days, that has multiple posts going viral. And when I say viral, we're talking 20, 30 million people have interacted. We've gained 45,000 followers in a period of a week and a half? This isn't a brag. It's to show you that we beat them. And we are a house in Virginia with 2 kids, a dog, and a cat. And my wife and I have no formal training in broadcasting, no formal training in any of this. And this is what you got. This is what you got. And this all came from the internet. It came from one post 5 years ago that 30,000 people saw. Hayden, are you still here? Okay, love you, bye. That 30,000 people saw, and we decided to create the Don't Unfriend Me show. Are we perfect? No. Are we kind of singular faceted here? Is that we have one topic that we really focus on and then move on to the next? Do we regurgitate the same thing over and over and pretend like we have breaking news when we don't? No, we stay on a topic, we focus on the topic, we beat the topic until we consume it, we process it, and we move on. So if you're coming here for breaking news on 40 topics, this isn't the place. We like to focus on one thing, but this is why we have 1,400 people watching right now. That's a lot. That's pushing Benny numbers. Now, on Facebook, it's Benny's on right now. So all the people left, the 175 that were on, they're over with Benny now, and that's okay. We don't mind. But we still have 1,300 people watching on Twitter. That's a pretty cool thing. We're pretty proud of that. We have people donating, helping the show right now. I haven't put them up because I'm not going to, but that's a pretty cool thing. I can't tell you how proud we are of the work we've done over the last 36 hours. And it's the same pride that we've had in covering Ukraine, covering COVID, covering both elections, where we were spot on, covering the Nashville bomber, covering these shootings. But this isn't the only manhunt we went. We also did the Florida manhunt too, which we told you was going to happen. We also told you what would happen when it came to Butler and broke down Butler and had some pretty damn good analysis on that. And this one was even better because it's communal. We all work together. So I understand what people are saying when they say the internet is toxic, that social media is toxic. If you choose to consume the wrong things, yes. But look at how many things we disproved. All those people who told you, listen, if you are fresh and new here and this is your first time and you came from one of those other sites that lied to you, that told you about the secret plane that took off, that disappeared for an hour, and that it was the Jews that killed Charlie Kirk, and told you that the ring that was falling off of his finger because of fragmentation in the video, and it wasn't a ring. It was actually a pop-it on the back of a phone that he was playing with, but said that that was an artificial intelligence video. The people that said that he got hit in the head first. The people that told you that this guy was a hired assassin and it was a professional. When they told you that he had an AR-15 and that there were multiple spotters, that it was his bodyguards that tried to murder him, that there was a book on Amazon already from September 9th that predicted Charlie Kirk's death when that's not what took place. If you came from one of those sites, can I encourage you never to go there? You don't have to come here, but find somewhere else to go. Accountability starts with you. Find somebody else. And I promise you this, as you matriculate through all the different shows, you will come to the ones who tell you the truth. You will find people like Damani Felder. You will find places like RSBN. You will find people like Ryan Samuels and myself. You'll find people like Ryan Weaver. You'll find Laura Logan. Yes, people said this stuff. We covered on the show for 2 days. And we debunked all of it. Every single one of these internet rumors that were lies, including the AI-enhanced photo of the shooter, which looks nothing like him. I have the AI photo of the shooter. It looks nothing. People misled. It's what they do. Shane says, Bannon and Jones today telling the truth. But wouldn't it be amazing if we didn't need to quantify and clarify and qualify that a show's telling the truth? What if they always told the truth? What if we wouldn't have to dignify the remarks by saying, hey, they're telling the truth today? Why don't they tell the truth every day? Because Steve Bannon and Alex Jones don't tell the truth every day. We have to do better. More importantly, is I'm not going to fundraise off Charlie Kirk's death. I'm going to fundraise off that we caught the son of a bitch because, folks, thedumshow.com/donate. It keeps our show going. This isn't free. We have to pay for this. Somebody has to pay for it. Listen, if you ever see work being done, it has to be paid for. And our listeners do it. So if you have the ability, please help us out. You can go to thedumshow.com/donate. We're going to talk a little bit more about this. I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer. Yes, we'll be on tonight. Olivia and I will be at 7 o'clock. We can't wait to see you. We'll have more information too. But as of right now, and remember who told you that this person was not a professional. Remember who told you that this shot could be made by just about anybody who had any practice at a range for a couple of hours. The intricacies of this shot were zero. The shooter had no idea about the rise in the round coming from barrel at that distance. We explained to you that it was 100% an amateur. But people hear 200 yards and they go, well, I can't make that shot, so therefore it's hard. Well, I also know you can't make an NBA free throw probably, but guess what? It's probably one of the easiest shots in basketball. Just because a free throw looks difficult to you, there's a reason why the league average is something like 76%, because it's not hard. And anybody with some basic understanding of physics, geometry, and has put a round in a lentil soup can from 200 yards can make that shot. Shane says, your opinion. No, it's not. Would you like me to tell you what Steve Bannon has lied about? Where are the people in Guantanamo Bay that they went ahead and jailed? I thought Donald Trump went ahead and did a military tribunal, was still in charge in 2020. Why isn't he the president? Steve Bannon told you that. What do you mean it's my opinion? No, Shane, that's your opinion. And all the while you've watched me. You're going to go head to head? Let's go, dude. Bring it on. I'll give you the litany of shit that Alex Jones told you that Sandy Hook kids was what was it, a red flag, that it was a false flag, that those kids weren't murdered? This is your guy, huh? Good. Go watch him. You don't need to watch me. Has Alex Jones blamed it on the Jews because he was blaming it on the Jews 2 nights ago? Did he apologize? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Shane, you don't even know who you're watching. You don't even know who you're watching. Whatever. You can hear, but you don't have to listen. Ridiculous. Unbelievable. That's okay. Yeah, you should call in. You really should call in. I would love to have that conversation, Shane. Call in. What about the Dominion voting machines? You want to talk about that? What about Bannon saying the election was stolen, but then behind closed doors with producers and other people saying that it wasn't stolen, and he knew all along it wasn't stolen. He even said in his court cases he knew that. What about that? What about perpetuating a lie to have you believe it? What about saying that Donald Trump was still the president in 2020? You don't remember that? It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake to blatantly lie and say that children were murdered and saying that it was fake by exposing the people who were actually responsible as those families got death threats. He propagated the lie on multiple occasions. And it was a lie of magnitude. What if people said that Charlie Kirk wasn't dead? How would you feel about them? What if people went on the national news right now and said, Charlie Kirk wasn't dead. This is all a false flag by President Trump to distract from the Epstein files? Because they're saying that right now. You know that, right? Is that okay? Bannon did the same thing. Now, does that mean I don't like Steve Bannon? I think Steve Bannon's a genius. I think Steve Bannon is an amazing person. I think Steve Bannon has a plethora of knowledge, but I also think he's full of shit. And I think he lies. And I think he deceives his audience sometimes. I think Alex Jones does the same thing. I think when you propagate people like Nick Fuentes and put them up there and espouse things against Jews with no proof, I think that's bad. Do I love Netanyahu? Not always. Do I think Israel is altruistic? Not necessarily all times, but I don't think the United States is either, and I don't think Japan is either, and I don't think it makes me hate my country to say that. I think countries do what's in the best interest of what they always do, the best interest of themselves in the guise of what's best interest for the country. But Steve Bannon has his faults. He gave Donald Trump false information. He was an advisor, and he didn't consult the president properly. I have a problem with that. And I have a problem with Alex Jones sometimes too. And it's not that I don't think Alex Jones has done some amazing work, because Alex Jones has. But I also think places like TMZ, the National Enquirer, and Alex Jones can at times are scandalous on purpose. And they create things that aren't true. And they say it under the guise of asking questions. I think people like Candace Owens has done that too. I think people like Nick Fuentes do that. And I think Alex Jones has done that. And they don't take accountability for what they say and what they do. And they never say, I got it wrong. That's not Bannon. That's absolutely Bannon. I don't know what you're talking about. So either challenge my points and let me know, or don't. Don't watch Nick. Well, that's fine, but do you know Alex Jones loves Nick Fuentes? Thinks Nick Fuentes is the second coming now? Yes, but what they're saying today, isn't it convenient that they're telling the truth when they weren't telling the truth 36 hours ago, when they said that they had information that this was a government plot, that there were foreign intelligence agencies working together, that there were Jewish planes and Israel and Netanyahu laying the breadcrumbs at Netanyahu's doorstep because Netanyahu showed and expressed concern for Charlie Kirk. Isn't it funny that today they're telling the truth, but yesterday they weren't? Shane, I'm just telling you, dude. Harry Sasson, it's funny, I was going to talk about that, Mel. Harry Sasson, and Dean Withers and those guys. And listen, let me be clear. What I'm trying to say is, do I think Steve Bannon is the problem? No, I don't. Do I think that credibility is important and that accountability is just as important? And if people spread lies or they say things that are proven untrue, they should own it and apologize. And until I see that from Bannon or Jones, their integrity to me is in question. Do you want to know why I'm loyal to Lara Logan? Because she can admit when she's wrong. Do you want to know why I'm loyal to Damani Felder? Because he never puts anyone, he puts everyone first over himself. And he has seen our growth over the last few days, and he isn't jealous. He's not mad. He helped us get here. He taught us how to do some of these things, and he just constantly praises positive, and he never thinks of himself. Ryan Samuels drives 16 hours to New York and stops by Virginia out of his way just so he can introduce himself and be a part of the show. Why Ryan Weaver, who is a country music star and comes on this show, or Eli Crane, who takes time and comes on this show, or anyone else who has just been incredible, the viewers here, is there's a level of accountability. And I just don't appreciate people who have a national stage, who make millions of dollars and lie to their audience. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. And if Steve Bannon was here, I would ask him the question. Maybe he could explain it to me, but he won't. He can't, because he knows what he did and he knows what he said. And Alex Jones does too. And you know what you do? No, I'm not going to do that. But do I think you shouldn't listen to Alex Jones? No. Do I think you shouldn't listen to Steve Bannon? No, I'm telling you to listen to him. What I'm telling you is that if you're going to them for factual information, I would be suspect. And I would wait. Because I've heard the things they've said. I watch them. And it takes me about 2 minutes to disprove their bullshit. because all you got to do is look at it. But they take stories and they run with them. And they don't, I'm not saying this is true, but in a hypothetical world, if Netanyahu addresses Charlie Kirk, who is prime minister of another country, and how busy he must be propagating a war, and if he addresses Charlie Kirk, there's got to be something there. I'm not saying there is, but it's kind of funny. You know what I mean? Yeah, we know what you mean, dude. You're trying to lay it at Netanyahu's door just to cover your bases. And carpet bombing the truth is not, that's what Nostradamus did. Nostradamus made 1,000 predictions and 25 of them came true. And people are like, oh, he's clairvoyant. Yeah, anyone can do that. Give my 12-year-old that I don't have anymore. Well, yeah, he is 12. So if I give my 12-year-old and I give him a dartboard and I have him throw things and he tags pin the tail on the donkey 4 times out of 100, it doesn't mean he's ready for the U.S. Dart Championship. Carpet bombing the truth is not reporting. It's not journalism. It's not integrity. Steve Bannon has done more for this movement than I ever will. But it doesn't mean that he can't be full of shit. And so is Alex Jones, but it doesn't mean he can't be full of shit either. And they need to stop spreading lies, and they need to start telling the truth. But this is what happens. People are competing for the algorithm, and they're going to say, and they're going to clickbait. We don't do clickbait titles. What did we tell you today? What was our title on the video that we did? What did it say? I don't even remember. Breaking news. Assassin caught. Trump announces. Is there anything that wasn't true? Nope. Not a clickbait. All right. It's okay. Shane, listen, look. This isn't Shane's first rodeo. He knows me. And I just said 45 minutes ago that I get triggered on things sometimes. Shane's not doing anything wrong. Shane consumes Alex Jones and Steve Bannon. And I just think that it's weird that we have to say that Steve Bannon and Alex Jones are telling the truth. I don't think anyone's ever said that to me. Hey, Matt's telling the truth today. Matt tells the truth every day. I don't know. That, to me, that's the testament that I want. That's what I want to hear. Let's go to it, because you know what? I was going to do this tonight with Olivia. It doesn't mean we can't do it again. Shane, hopefully no harm, no foul. Maybe there is. Keith says, why do you feel like you have to validate yourself against others? What's validation? It's validating yourself up against a principle, a thought, or conceived notion. That's what validation is. I don't know. So I think the answer is in the question. That's why. Because the old adage that comparison is the killer of progress or innovation is absolutely true. I'm not comparing myself to Steve Bannon. I'm not comparing myself to Alex Jones. What I'm doing is that the truth is not an opinion. And I'm trying to change the culture in this space that uses people's emotions to profit. I don't like that. I think it's bullshit. I think it sucks. And if you have a platform and you say, you can trust me, you can believe in me, I'm going to give you good information that's real. And if it's not, I'm going to own it. Wouldn't you validate yourself against those people and say, here's what I do better than them? Is that if I'm wrong, I'll tell you. If I make a mistake, I'll tell you. Why is it that people who are important are allowed to make endless mistakes without accountability? Why are the same people predicting elections year after year? Why is Karl Rove up there? Karl Rove couldn't predict a bowel movement. Why isn't Paul Bet David in PPD podcast? Why isn't that the most global and well-known show out there? It's huge, But why isn't it absolutely just like late night? Because in my opinion, PBD is one of the most influential hosts that we have since Rush Limbaugh, and probably one of the most impactful people to the conservative movement since Charles Krauthammer. I believe that. And I don't even watch him that much. And his other two bozos on the show are completely idiots, but PBD is a genius. And the man is a visionary, and he understands the people. And I think people should listen to him. And when he gets it wrong, he admits it. That, to me, is who I validate against myself. I validate myself against, because although I don't want to compare myself, I can't. If I compare myself to PBD, I'll quit. I'll tear my show down because it's worthless compared to him. It doesn't financially, it's not even close to as successful. It doesn't have as many listeners. I'm not as good. So I can't compare myself, because that ultimately is the killer of creativity, ingenuity, innovation, and success. It just kills inspirational growth. Because if you compare yourself to people who are above you in a multifaceted situation, whether it be numbers or finances or talent, you'll never grow. But validating yourself against others is absolutely important, because it helps you understand where you want to be, and it gives you a code of a target that you want to be better at them at. And I can stand by one simple thing. Don't lie to my people. I don't deceive them, and I don't tell them things that aren't true in order to manipulate them. And I can sit there and I can stand on that hill, and I can say that this is what I will be the best at in this industry. This is my validation. That's why. And because I don't want you guys to continue to be fooled by things like this, because I think it depreciates your word. Because the moment that you take a lie and you disseminate it and process it and throw it out there to your friends, your credibility is lessened. And dare I say, by osmosis, my listeners are smart, intelligent people, and they have learned to look at things differently. And I'll put our listeners against most. So that's why I validate myself against others. There's your answer. I hope it helps. No, Keith, I'm telling you why. Shane says, you tell the truth as you see it. That's not the way truth works. See, Shane, this is why you won't call in, because you why don't you go ahead and tell me what I've lied about? It's not the truth as I see it. That's not the way truth works. See, what you're saying is that I look at something and I see it a certain way, and therefore I tell you the way it's been seen. That's not the way that works. That's not what I do at all. Because if I did, I would have processed information in the last 36 hours and given it to you, and it would have been wrong. What I do is I give you the facts based upon what we know at the time. There's the difference. And where you're getting confused is that I'm not talking about always being right. What I'm talking about is when you aren't saying the following words: I gave you some bad information and I was wrong. Instead of just moving on to the next topic. $298. We're going to hit 300 soon. Today, Bannon was saying the same thing you were, and yesterday he wasn't. Yesterday, I was saying the same thing I'm saying today. Shouldn't that be the litmus test? Shouldn't it be Matt saying the same exact thing he was saying yesterday? Shouldn't that be, and the day that the shooting happened, shouldn't that be the litmus test? If I constantly have said the same thing, that the shooter was not a professional, that it was a bolt-action rifle, .308 caliber to .270, and then someone said a 30-06, and I think I said I don't know if it's a 30-06, but it really doesn't matter. At that range, it's going to do the damage. If I told you that they were going to have this guy within 36 hours, if I told you that they had video of this guy, if I told you they had multiple Ring doorbell cameras and people laughed at me, when I literally made a post yesterday stating all of those things when nobody else were, and people were coming in and talking about the private plane and talking about the disappearing ring of Charlie Kirk and the Amazon books and the Jews were responsible. And I just sat there and kind of laughed at them. When I told you last night that the U.S. Marshals were in tow with Kash Patel and nobody else knew that, I told you that Bongino and Patel were both in Utah, that the U.S. Marshals were deployed, and the Provo office and the, not the Ogden, but Salt Lake City office were engaged, and explained that to you, and that they were being dispatched, and also told you that we had this guy. This guy was, and knew at 11 o'clock last night that they had a suspect that was about to be apprehended and in custody, and then knew at 8 or 7:52 this morning that person was captured before President Trump went on, and had a video cut literally minutes after Donald Trump had come on and said it, with the video tagged on Fox News, which means I had the jump. Shouldn't that be what we're talking about? Versus Steve Bannon saying something today that they're saying what you're saying. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. That it's okay to say it once you know, but why aren't we listening to the people who knew it before it was said? This isn't the first time, y'all. How many times do I have to do this? How many times does Donald Trump have to be right before we just stop questioning what he does? Now, am I comparing myself to Trump? No, but if you have a plethora of 5 years of thousands upon thousands of hours of accurate analysis, when are you just going to stop listening to the other shit and just listen to the person who's right? And whether that be me or PPD or somebody else or Damani or whatever, but why are you listening to Bannon? Why are you listening to Alex Jones? That's my point, is if you keep getting the bad information and you keep getting poisoned from the well, then why do you keep returning to the same well and drinking the water? How is this not clear? I don't know. Yes, Matt, I agree wholeheartedly on PPD. He is awesome and so well-spoken, calm, and rational, and you two are on the level. You're getting bigger, and we're here for it. Thank you, Don. I love you. I agree, PPD is a big deal for me. This show and PPD are my favorite. So easy to defend the truth. I've already sent the number. The number has been in chat. It's right there, dude. It's right there. It's right. People have given it to you 75 times. We don't all see things from the same angle. Then get up and move. If you're a photographer or a sniper, you know that. If you're a hunter, you know that. If we all don't see the same thing from the same angle, then move. Stop waiting for it to move and you move. Change your approach. Change the way you see things. Stand on the proverbial desk of life and shout out, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." Have your sweaty tooth madman moment, dude. And move. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then go Google it and watch the movie. The winter of our discontent does not have to be a prognosis. It can be a warning. It doesn't have to be an inevitability. Change your position. Get a pair of glasses. Change your angle. Zoom in, zoom out, get high, get low, get on your belly, flap your arms until you fly, change the way you see things. This is what I'm telling you. Keith Blankenstock says, run your own race. It's not a race unless other people are involved. I don't race against myself. You know, I have that 2 on the back of my shoulder to let people know what place they're going to come in. There's no reason to run a race against yourself, Keith. There's no reason. But where should I move to? Wherever the truth takes you, I guess. That's the answer. Change your angle until you can see. If you're at a concert and you're too far back, what do? You move closer. But sometimes moving further away is better. Sometimes the sound's better further away. Sometimes the acoustics. So it depends. Where should you move to? Wherever the truth takes you. That's what I would do. Keith is calling in. Keith, what's going on, dude? Good to talk to you.
Not much, man.
What's going on, brother?
How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm all right.
Go ahead. I'll let you go.
No. I'm doing good, bro. And I don't think I misunderstood what you said.
It's Blackstock.
What did I say?
I don't know. It wasn't Blackstock. I can tell you that.
Keith Blackstock.
Hey, all I'm trying to say, brother,
go ahead.
I love your show. I think you're doing great, but I think you just be yourself, man. Don't worry about all these other dirt bags, and everything will fall into place.
But
that's all I'm saying. And I think the other guy means well as well.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
We see you struggling some nights and getting frustrated. And I love how you interact in the comments, but sometimes things are taken out of text. You know what I mean? It's hard to read what somebody's thinking, and it's hard to really punch in on a phone or whatever. Maybe they got a computer. I don't. But I enjoy watching you. I think you're doing great. A beautiful family.
Mm-hmm.
I just think when I meant run your own race, don't worry about the competition. You're only in competition with yourself. That's it.
But Keith,
you're great at what you do.
But Keith, you heard what I said when I said, well, what's the point of running a race unless other people are involved?
Dude, every time I write a comment and send it, it mutes you. Okay? I mean,
does
don't get me wrong. Lately, like you said, the internet's been a little more
been
going your way. I think there's a little issues with it, but hey.
That's good advice.
I'm proud of you, brother. I think you're doing awesome.
It's good advice. I appreciate it, man. And I'm not challenging you. I just don't believe
none of us are trying to get mean with you. We're just trying to help, brother. That's it.
No.
I run a tree service here in Orlando, Florida, and I bid against nobody. And that's because of the reputation I've made over the years. Right now, the last 9 months, I've been taking care of my dad.
Yeah.
Working a couple days. I get it. I know what's important, and I see you working towards what's important. Beautiful family. I got 5 kids. My oldest one's an underwater welder diver that's been in Cuba during all that bull stuff going on.
Wow.
And he just works for a company. He's not in the military, so it's a little different.
Right.
You know, I get it. I really do. And I used to never worry about politics. Never. And I've watched many of them, and that's why I don't watch them. You know, it's not worth my time. Just saying, you know, you got some good people around you. Damani's a good person.
Yeah, he is. Good dude.
You know, I hate to say it, but I see you going to church. I know he's a very church-worthy man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's differences why people pull ahead of everybody else because they don't. They do sometimes compare it when they're really off, but man, we know you're right. That's why we watch it. You're going to build so fast now that it's the only thing that's going to hurt you is yourself. Trust me on that.
No, Keith.
I used to have 2.5 crews running here in Orlando, and now I just do multi-million-dollar homes. Okay, and they call me and wait, and that's how it's supposed to be done. You build a reputation, but it is what it is. If you see it another way and you want to do it, we're just giving you our perspective of what we see on the other side.
Okay, I'll take it.
We know you kill yourself doing what you do, and we love it.
All right. I'll take my ass chewing, and I'll just say yes, sir.
No, it's not really an ass chewing.
I'm not able to talk. So this is reminiscent of my father. So I'm just going to take it for what it's worth. A good thing.
Man.
A good
That's
thing.
Another thing.
A good thing.
It's you now, brother. It's you now. Don't hold yourself back on anything that's ever happened before today.
Yeah.
Just work towards tomorrow, one day at a time.
No, I'm taking it. I'm taking it as a positive. I'm taking it as a positive.
Negativity don't hold you back. Man, I've watched you lately be calmer, more cool, and I love the interaction with someone. They need it. Trust me.
Sometimes.
Some of them in the comments, I wish I could comment faster. But, you know, and some nights I got to take care of my dad, you know. And I get back and I see that you've been on somebody, and it's a good reason.
Sometimes. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's an overreaction.
Everybody messes up. Nobody's perfect. The only perfect person to walk this world is no longer.
That is correct. Well, that is correct. You give good advice. You give good counsel. and I'll take it for what it's worth and
I'll be
process
the first to tell you, I'm not the greatest person. I'm working towards it. Everybody is, I believe.
Yeah, I agree.
We all make mistakes. All we're here to do is lead you in the right way. That way, maybe Facebook or somebody don't complain and drop you back down in numbers. We want to see you thrive. That's
I want to.
We don't want to see you take money from somebody and have to tell lies to keep the numbers up, and that's
that's the day that I come to you for tree cutting service job, because I won't.
Oh man, I can't do them all, but I got buddies all over the world now that I learned how to do the internet.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You don't price to other people. I respect that, and I won't either. But if someone pulls up a quote, are you going to focus on the dollar? Are you going to focus on the work?
I focus on the healthiness of the tree and what's best for the customer throughout the years. And once you do that,
wait, Keith, hold on.
You understand.
But Keith,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm doing. I'm focused on the health. Hold on, let me finish. I'm focusing on the health of my customer. I'm not worried about the price. I'm not worried about the overall time, because that's the truth, right? If you want me to reduce my price, then you're going to have to reduce the quality of my work, the time that it takes to do it. Which one would you like to cut out? That's the answer. Hold on. Listen, I haven't really said anything. Let me talk, man.
All right,
so that's the truth in a job, right? That's the truth. If you want me to cut out the price, you're gonna have to lower the quality of the work, or the time that it takes to get it done. Which one would you like to remove? And the answer is always none. Okay, well then the price is as it is. But what I'm doing is exactly what you just said.
I know.
Worried about the health of the tree. So when you ask me the question, let me answer it. And you ask me, why do I validate against others? It's because I care about the health of my customer. I care about the health of the product. And if there are people out there who are not being truthful and being deceptive, or they're cutting corners versus cutting the tree properly, you have a right to call them out. Because when you are associated with those people and people say that, hey, you're Johnson's Lawn and Tree Service, who rakes customers over the coals and doesn't finish the work, and you could say, no, I'm not. I'm doing what you're doing. I just want you to understand why I'm doing it. That's it. Now go ahead and finish up, and I'll shut up.
Okay. Let me see if I can remember all that. But, here's a basic truth. Yeah, for real. That's, man, I barely got any sleep last night. It's been a rough one with them. All I'm saying is you only have so much time, correct?
Right.
And you keep saying it costs a lot to be on there, correct?
Yeah.
We all know you're good. That's why we watch it.
Yeah.
It's not a matter that someone else is on or whatever. Some people are busy during this time of the day. We agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to catch you on the replay or whatever. They're not used to you popping in at this time. Not saying that you don't. I love the little videos you put out in the shorts. It's the bread and butter probably. That's what everything seems like on the internet nowadays. You got to very well grasp your industry as well, but I don't bid against nobody else because my heart's in behind what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't worry about other people because it's only my race. I've been there and done that. There's thousands of people in the tree industry now. The only reason why I'm in it, I worked at Marita Bakery and was a mixer when I was younger trying to go to college. And the girl I was with decided to party after we had a son. That's the son that's an underwater welder diver. Could have been a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy's smart. But he also seen where people waste a lot of money going to college, and, he had a dad that cared. That's
Mm-hmm.
all it is. That's what I mean, man. You're doing great with the kids.
I appreciate
it. For sure.
I appreciate it.
I don't want to get choked up, but.
No, you do it. You do. Listen, you're giving it to me from the heart. I appreciate it.
I'm only 51,
Yeah.
I wish I would have took another route, but I took the best I had in front of me.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do. All I'm saying.
I can't believe I didn't call you Keith. Now
it's all right. That's been going on all my life.
I think I called you Black and Stock.
Yeah, maybe. It's a lot of. Usually it's Blackstone. Usually it's whatever. And that's
well, at least it's not Black. At least it's not Blackhawk. So I could have called you that.
We don't go there.
You're like everyone already knows that. We don't need to name it.
Yeah, I don't go there no more.
Keith,
yeah.
I learned a long time ago that when you're hearing something and you're pushing back against it, maybe you need to shut up and listen. So I listened to what you said. I agree.
No, I see you do that. That's why I'm saying the poor guy that won't call in, he's just never. The first time I met you, the first time I come across your page, I did say something stupid that I didn't know anything about that I heard.
Yeah.
And you called me out, and I called in. That was the first time I remember this show. It's been a while ago. I don't know. I've had to come back in and come back out so many times. I don't know.
Well, listen, I know.
Doesn't matter.
This is Shane. Shane's a good guy. Shane will suck it up and deal with it. This isn't the first time Shane and I have butt heads a little bit, but I take it personal. My word is important to me, and you know what? I'll take your feedback. I'll take your feedback, Shane. It's good feedback,
I just
honestly.
think your time's important is all I'm saying. And a lot of us are seeing it's bothering you, and we need to let you know that some fights come for themselves, and we can handle that in the comments.
Fair enough.
There's some of them I really wish you would step into a little bit quicker, but it is what it is.
I don't see
more about the game.
I don't see him, dude. It's too. Listen, this is like trying to fly a plane and trying to worry about everybody else's plane at the same time. It's not the easiest thing. There's a lot. Like I've got 3 conversations going right now, but I'm trying to give you that time. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, good with what you gave me. I appreciate it.
God bless you, Keith. I appreciate you, man.
God bless you.
Hang in there, buddy. Thank you. I love Keith, and he's a good dude, and Shane too. Jamie Inc. says, share everything Charlie Kirk. We already did, Jamie. And I'm sorry that you feel I'm worse than the left, but maybe you would, if you would have woken up before noon, you would have gotten the skinny when we've been on for almost 2 hours. So we've already covered everything Charlie Kirk. So I'm sorry that you're not happy about that. So let's talk about it. Jamie Inked says the following, and we're going to, by the way, we already covered that. Tiffany, don't race bait, do not engage. Okay, we're going to talk about that. You guys must have shared this to a liberal page. See the photo? I got it up for you. We're going to talk about you. Nadine Green says, Nia Wilson was also stabbed and killed, was motivated by race. However, this image is not necessary. Stop the race war. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about this. Why did I share this image? Obviously, because it's triggered you, and that's important. So you seem to be upset by it. So explain to me why this image upsets you more than what actually took place. It wasn't a white person who killed a black lady, and I know what you're talking about. That's from 2017. So you're going to go ahead and pull up something from 8 years ago to try to go ahead and denounce what I'm saying? You're trying to pull up something 8 years ago to go ahead and say that, well, because a white person killed a black lady, that therefore it negates any thought of holding people accountable for BLM. 187 different riots, $2.5 billion in damage all across America during the Summer of Love. And I can sit here and walk you through racial statistics of white on black crime and black on black crime and black on white crime. And those numbers aren't even remotely even close. So why is it racist to provide statistics that make you feel uncomfortable? This isn't stoking race crime. It's to make a point. And the point has nothing to do that black people hurt white people or white people hurt black people. You've missed the point altogether. And your animus is the problem. To immediately assume that because I'm white that this is racist. You know what this is? This is calling out the media. The media sat on this story for 3 weeks. They didn't say a word about it. It wasn't in the Washington Post. It wasn't in the New York Times. It wasn't in the Los Angeles Times. It wasn't in the Denver Post. It wasn't on ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC. It wasn't on any of those channels for over 3 weeks. Why? You know why. I know why. So who's stoking racial tensions? The person that calls it out that the media selectively picks certain articles to create racial animosity and tensions in this country? Or is it the actual media and politicians who don't say anything? What if we exposed all of these type of things? What if we talked about it in excess? What if we brought it to light and didn't simply say racism every time something made us feel uncomfortable? Because the truth is, if it was a white person who did this to a black lady, because when you talk about 2017 and you talk about that fatal stabbing, legislation was passed. The perpetrator was arrested. And it doesn't matter whether you talk about a church shooting or you talk about anything else. It made national news. Legislation was moved forward in her name so it would not happen again. It was a national story. It was picked up by every single station. People decreed and were absolutely adamant and outraged at the outcome. And yes, there were idiots, just like there's idiots with Charlie Kirk, just like there's idiots with Irina that say that this young lady deserved it, that Charlie Kirk deserved it, that Nia Wilson deserved it. Those are the outliers and those are the morons. There was no national outcry that this was justified. What are you talking about? And by the way, it was 8 years ago. Would you like to talk about the Barbary Pirates too while you're at it? Since you want to talk about the Barbary Pirates, if you want to talk about the Tuskegee experiments, if you want to talk about civil rights, if you want to talk about Jim Crow laws, if you want to talk about 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment before they were here and it predated that, and you want to talk about slavery and 400 years of absolute 100% abhorrent behavior, and you want to use that to ignore something that just took place, that's fine. You can do that. But then we need to talk about Christian persecution too. And we need to talk about white persecution across Europe. And we have to talk about all of it. And we also need to talk about how the slave trade wasn't white people who started it, that it was your own people who started it. And if you want to go ahead and talk about that, then we have to talk about how the United States was the second country in the world to identify that slavery was wrong and to cease the practice faster than it started. And if you want to talk about that, then we should talk about Democrats too. And we should talk about how the Democrats are the one who persecuted African Americans, who put them in chains and kept them in chains in the modern day slave plantations and have done nothing for the African American people. And for 75 years, you have voted for the same modern day slave plantations without holding them accountable. That doesn't sound very racist to me. It sounds very much like a holistic view that we should hold people accountable who take advantage of others who are downtrodden and have put them in this perpetual state of inequity. So you ask me why I put this picture up? Because this picture needs to be put up. And instead of railing against me, maybe you should stand with me and say, why didn't the media say anything about this? Why did the media use George Floyd and use the story of what happened to him to literally create division in this country? Why did groups interject into the BLM movement, which in its own merit was actually bona fide and was a beautiful, beautiful movement? It was, because I saw the rallies in Dallas. I saw the rallies in Los Angeles and San Francisco where there was no violence, but I also saw the rallies where people died. And I saw where people came in from Antifa, and I saw the people who were the zealots of the BLM movement who used it for its own purposes to rape, to loot, and to pillage their own businesses. Why can't we talk about both? Why can't we talk about that great movements in society have been hijacked by the worst of society? And why can't we call that out? Why do we have to pretend that the BLM riots were actually altruistic when they weren't? Because they were hijacked by people who had ill intent. And it wasn't white people who did it. So why do I post that? To do what I always do, to call out the media and call out the division in this country. And if you want to call that racist, that's fine, but I think you're racist for claiming that I am with no proof other than an AI photo that's been seen by 27 million people, mind you, and only a handful of you are upset. Instead of reacting, try to discern what the message is. And it is absolutely true that if this would have happened in reverse, that this would be in every single newspaper, on every single show, and being talked about ad nauseum until it ignited into a movement that turned into riots, officers being killed, buildings being burned down, and businesses being shuttered. And you ask me how I know? Because it's happened before. So there's the answer to your question. And by the way, this entire show was about Charlie Kirk up until this point. Gloria needs to go. Oh, Gloria, stop spamming. God, why don't it's amazing when we go on rants, we get these spammers. That sucks. I'm working on it, people. I don't have anybody with us. Okay. Well, maybe somebody got her. I'm waiting to hear anything else. Did they all leave? That's it? They all left? That's all you got? So you come in, you drive by, you get the answer, and then you cry and you leave. Oh, this guy makes sense. We got to leave. So, okay, she just got banned. Okay. All right, so we're good to go. All right, so people were asking a question. Keith, I want to thank you for your phone call. Shane, I want to say thank you as well for having an opinion. It's not racist to call it the truth. I'm sorry that bothers you. Sorry it bothers you. But like I said, 27 million people have seen that. And there's only a handful who've said, it's racist. If it bothers you, then change the culture. If it bothers you, then speak out against it. It always baffles me. And I don't care what color it is. I don't care who they are. Methamphetamines are predominantly a white problem, and they stem in the poorest parts of rural communities. And it propagates from places like New Mexico and Arizona, and white people should never defend it. I don't understand why African-American people get upset when white people call out the crime and the epidemic of black-on-black crime in the United States, because that is the truth. It's not white people killing black people. I'm sorry. I know you want that to be true, but what's funny is that you're racist because you took one thing with Derek Chauvin, or you take Nina's case and you use it to apologize for black-on-black crime. But you never address it. Isn't that what I just did? Didn't I take one solitary case of this girl and Irina getting brutally slain and then turn it around and say, well, what if it was a black person who did this? Or a black person who was the victim? And you say that's racist. Isn't that racist with what you're doing, taking one case with George Floyd? It's the exact same thing you're accusing me of. Are you going to talk about Trayvon Martin? Are you going to talk about hands up, don't shoot? Are you going to talk about I can't breathe and use that to go ahead and justify billions of dollars in damages and hundreds of riots across the summer of love? Are you going to use it to justify every time something like this happens? And that there's not a riot, that somehow you pat yourself on the back and say, congratulations, people did something halfway decent? I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to congratulate you for not breaking the law. Great job on being a citizen of this country who actually follows the law. Congrats. That shouldn't be the way it is. It's not my job to dignify your actions. That's not my job. You know what I mean? All right, let's get to Mel's question. We do have some donations that I can put in. If you guys just give me a second, I'm going to go ahead and do that. We don't have an incredible amount, but I want to make sure that I put them in. And then once I do that, we'll go ahead and do a couple other things, and then I'm going to jet because I've got other things to do today. But I figured I would at least get these in here for you. And I want to say how much I appreciate them. So 1 second. I wish this was easier, but it's not. I wish I had the family here, but I don't. So it's all up to me. If I can even remember how to do it. I haven't done this in a while. Oh, there it is. Tipping is not just a country in China. Okay, here we go. So it's going to be David. And David, I know you, and you are a good friend of the show. David just ordered a couple boxes for the Documents of Freedom, which is awesome. Those will be made and released here shortly, and we will get them out to y'all. Dave gave $20. And Dave did not say anything this time, but we do appreciate you, Dave. It's going to pop up here in just a second. So thank you so much for that. $20 from Dave. I didn't expect a lot this morning because this was an unscheduled show, and I know we have tonight too. But of course, there are people who still have given. CJ, our good friend, has given us $51.99. And CJ is somebody who always gives to the show, so thank you, CJ. We appreciate that. I wish I didn't have to do these myself, folks, but unfortunately, I do. Because the family is not here, so saving that. So thank you so much for hitting the $51.99. Jamie says, do I debate? Sure. Do you call the phone, Jamie? Jamie Inc., 276-200-2105. But do I debate? Not anymore. There's no point. I have conversations. If you want to have a conversation, call in. As long as it's amicable, I'll be happy to have a conversation. Charlie might not have known you personally. You have made him proud of your coverage, Matt. Thank you. Oh, CJ, that's an incredibly sweet thing to say, and I can't thank you enough for saying it. So, Jamie, you want to call? Call. You're the only one left out of the group, so I'll be happy to have a conversation with you. 276-200-2105. Pick up the phone. Give me a call. Would love to talk to you. But debate, no, we can't have possibly. We don't have a moderator. We don't have the rules of the debate. And honestly, debate today doesn't do anything. People are just trying to score points. But I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you. 276-200-2105. Pick up the phone. Would love to talk to you. This is Jamie Inked. So waiting for your phone call, bud. And if you don't want to just make a phone call and you want to come on Zoom, you can do that too. I've got a Zoom link if you'd like me to send you the link. And we could have a conversation. Love to. Melanie, get some rest. Get some sleep. While we're waiting for Jamie to find the phone number, 276-200-2105, I'm going to go ahead and play this. JD, we'll do trivia tonight. That's fine. I'm sorry I haven't done a good job. Here is Dean Withers, who is going to demonstrate some crying and remorse about Charlie Kirk. Is the person who he's called Charlie Kirk a white nationalist? Oh my God, Jamie. 276-200-2105. It's literally right there. It's right on the screen. 276-200-2105. Right there. Here is the video of Dean Withers, and if Jamie gets the phone call, we'll bring him on. Here it is.
Imagine being a 12-year-old, watching your dad fucking die. Nobody deserves that. Not even Charlie Kirk.
Not even.
Nobody deserves that. I'm sorry that you guys have to see me like this.
I don't think he's very sorry for you to see him like this, honestly.
man.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don, so much. Once again, phone number 276-200-2105. Trey Mix Art says, fuck you too. It's 2 O's, buddy. 2 O's. Utah, give me 2. T-O-O. Just saying, if you're gonna slur on somebody, do it right. Come on. Yeah, conversation. I prefer debates. I enjoy doing what the left kills us for. Dude, pick up the phone. Stop deflecting. Stop distracting. Just pick up the phone. A debate. What do you want? 2.5 minutes? I don't care. Call it whatever you want. Just pick up the phone. If you want to talk, talk. And if you're going to tell me to fuck off, do it right. You know what I'm saying? At least have the common sense to do it right. Unless you were talking about Charlie Kirk or Dean Withers, then, whatever. SMD, I don't know what that is. Is it weapon of mass destruction? Small man dick? I don't know what it means. What's SMD? Shaking my dick? Sucking my dick? I don't know what you're doing. I don't even know if you're mad at me. So I'm just throwing it out there. So you could be defending me. Like Super Matt's dick. I don't know what it is. Just pick up the phone. I prefer to debate. Yeah, and I prefer blonde with big tits, but that's not what happened. Call in, Jamie. Here is Dean Withers. Here is what Dean Withers had to say privately.
I am sad, distraught. In fact, I just cried on my live stream in front of 250,000 people.
Dean, a bunch of us have access to your Discord, right? Where I just want to point out that at the same time you were feeling sad and upset and crying in front of 250,000 people, you were also running a poll in your Discord.
Trey Mix, I don't know what you're mad at. You're mad at racism. Demonstrate the racism. Point it out. Stop talking and call in, dude. It's
about
easy.
Whether or not Charlie Kirk deserved to die. Which, hey, the poll's still going, but it's looking like your audience thinks he did. They think he deserved to die, and you gave them a chance to answer that because you set up a poll in Discord for them. That's what you were doing behind the scenes while you were crying on live. While you were acting like this upset you, you were making a joke about it in your Discord. You were making something funny out of it. You were trying.
Trey Mix got banned because Trey Mix is a pussy.
To find a way to.
Trey Mix can't pick up the phone.
Make content. I mean, dude, like what kind of person is crying on live stream in front of 250,000 people, which stop. You didn't have 250,000.
You didn't have 250,000 people. These guys don't have 250,000 people watching. Trust me. As someone who does this and watches Ben Shapiro, watches Chad Prather, who watches Lara Logan, who watches Cenk Uyghur, who looks at the numbers, there are many nights that I actually outperform them. Facebook is incredibly difficult to get viewers. We got 61 on tonight. Last night we had 50,000 views and we had more than 200 people on. It's hard to get recognized on live. There are a lot of people going live. There's only so many feeds and so many hours in the day and so many people watching. So give me a break. 250,000 people means you force bots into your show. Everyone knows it. My comment section is more active than most people who have 2,000 people watching. The only person who consistently gets that many people watching is Benny Johnson. That guy's got one hell of a following and he has built a network that's incredible. It's also a lot on clickbait, but I'm not supposed to compare myself to others.
But even if you did, crying in front of them while making a joke about it on your private Discord. Yeah, see, dude, a bunch of us have access to that. So while you're on here doing your little...
That's what I think. And that's what I think about Dean Withers, and that's what I think about the other Yahoo, Harry Sasson, who is, woe is me, and then this guy, he's a left-wing influencer, Parker something. He was there at the shooting. These people hate Charlie Kirk. They don't like Charlie Kirk. They have simply espoused that he is a Nazi, and he's a Christian white nationalist, he's a racist. They don't care. They secretly enjoy the fact that he was killed. We know this because we hear how they talk. Okay, we hear how they interact. We know the things that they've said. Harry Sasson is the same way. I don't care about any of these people. They lie. They make shit up. They don't like Charlie Kirk. They think he's an idiot. They make fun of his God. They make fun of our God. They think that he's transphobic. And honestly, they may sit here and weep for their followers, but they don't care. And they just don't. And that's just the way it works. And they haven't demonstrated anything to me that would show that they are showing contrition, that they're showing any remorse, because they were right back today talking shit about Donald Trump, talking shit about Republicans, and they'll be calling them Nazis at the end of the week. And by the way, where did the guy go who was, yeah, I want to debate you. I want to have a formal, where are you? Did you not call in? Why? Why didn't you call in? We know why you didn't call in, because you know you're going to get trounced. 276-200-2105. You want to call in? You want to call me a racist? I don't care. Do it. I've been called worse, but you won't be able to prove any of that. You can't, because here's the thing, because racism is an ideology. The same thing with terrorism, the same thing with supremacy. And if somebody says, I'm not a racist, you know what you say? You little fucking liar. Oh, okay, great. Yes, I am a racist. See, I told you. There's no way. It's like me calling you a rapist. It's like me calling you a welfare baby. Prove it. You can't. And neither can I. So when you call me a racist, the only thing I say now is, yep. Yep. You got it. I'm a racist. That's right. My granddaddy owned slaves. Great granddaddy owned slaves. Hundreds of them, actually. Freed them all, too. But that doesn't mean, that doesn't do any good. He had slaves at one point. Therefore, you're a slaver, too. Yeah, okay. You're a Nazi. Well, actually, yeah, great uncle was Albert Speer. I mean, that's the truth. But you didn't say anything about my grandma Schwartz either, who also fled Germany in 1938, who was a Jew. Does that make me any less of a Nazi? No? Okay. There's nothing I can do. And that's designed that way, to shut down conversation. Because instead of saying, hey, man, you're saying things that are hurting people. Oh, now that's a different conversation, and that's something we can do. Is it hurting people or is it hurting you? What's hurting you? I don't like what you said. I understand that, but what's hurting you? How have I physically damaged you? How have I scarred you? What are you going to do now? Now that your feelings are hurt, what's next? Well, I'm just going to get about my day. Good, then let's do that. Because in 5 years, are you going to care what I said? Then why do you care now? Maybe you should stop making a microcosm into something that's grandiose and overall impacting your life. Because here's the truth, is that I can't change the way you feel. Only you can get offended. I can't make you offended. I can say things that you don't like, but that doesn't mean that I caused that. It means you caused that, because you don't have the ability to compartmentalize your emotions and feelings. Yeah, Blanco. What a great guy. Great name, great account. Blanco. Doesn't that mean white? You don't have any. You see, but the funny thing is I haven't even mentioned any statistics. So now you're going to spam my channel. Look up real mass shooters. Oh, you mean like 4 or more people who are injured? So you're going to go ahead and take the ownership for all the black-on-black violence and mass shootings that take place with gangland violence? Those? Is that what you want me to do? You want me to look those up? What do you want me to look up? You want me to go ahead and take a look on black crime? Do you want to take a look at that number? Do you want to take a look on white on black crime and look at that number? I don't think you want to look that number up. But you are going to go away because you keep spamming my channel. You can ask one question, Blanco. Or should I say, dipshit. There's no hate. The only thing you hate are facts. Like most. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Blanco. Is there anybody who has any moxie? Is there anybody who's willing to pick up the phone and have a conversation? Isn't there anybody who has, is there nobody in all the land who can pick up the trident and stand at post? Who can be the flag bearer? Who wants to simply just defend themselves and talk about these? Is there anybody? Come on, people. This is weak. Weak sauce. You're a racist. Great. Tell me why. Tell me more. All right. I think that's all I got. Oh, the left is starting already. Here it is. Tyler Robinson was not black, not trans, not Muslim, not Hispanic. Basically, he was a kid who wore a Donald Trump costume for Halloween. Here we go. So the narrative isn't, oh, Don Bradley called in. I like Don Bradley. Hi, Don Bradley.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. Do you have a lecture for me? Because I don't think I can take it anymore today.
No, I don't have a lecture, but obviously I have been following you now for almost 3 years.
Long time.
Yeah, I'm so glad I found you. And I just I'm usually doing other things at this time of day, but I'm glad that you are on. But I just wanted to personally call you and say thank you to you and Olivia.
Yes, ma'am.
For your coverage, every day your coverage. It comes with me a lot when I can't always be there for your lives because of my work schedule, but I'm listening to you at 2 a.m. And especially the whole Charlie Kirk thing, I think it has affected a lot of us in ways that we didn't expect it to affect us.
Yeah.
And just you and Olivia being on and talking us through it and just being there, being that voice, I think meant a lot to me. So I just want to say thank you. And I'm cracking up again because this has been really hard.
Dawn, it is hard. It's like, yeah, can I share something with you real quick? Do you mind? I mean, it wouldn't be.
No. I'm home. I'm off work today. I'm enjoying the beautiful weather here in North Carolina, and I'm all ears.
So when I think about particularly that it's hard, I think what I think when I hear about that is tough love. And I didn't grow up with anything other than tough love. You know, my dad was like, geez, Dad, I think I broke my dick, and just rub some dirt on it and get back in there and get back into the game. I mean, that's the way he was, you know.
Maybe old school. Some of us call that old school.
You know, what's funny? I remember trying to field a fly ball in baseball, and I was so horrible at sports when I was a young kid. And the baseball actually was a pop fly, and it hit me in the belly button. Now, how does that happen? How does a pop fly hit somebody? Well, that means you were completely out of position. I was probably leaning back, you know, like with my head back and just trying not to get killed by it. And I cried like the dickens. And my dad was just like, you know, suck it up, rub some dirt on it. I remember I had no, come on. I deserved it. I was a putz. But I look back, and whether it was my uncle or my grandfather or my dad, it was always tough love. There was no sympathy. You know, you hurt yourself. You just sucked it up and got back in there. And then when I went through the transformation of my life, when I was addicted to opioids and got out of the military, and life was really just taking a horrible turn for me. I remember the phone call that I received from a good friend of mine who essentially said, "You rang the bell on life," and he did it to anger me. And I remember calling him back and, "Screw you! I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna kick your ass." He's like, "You couldn't even make it up my driveway, fat ass," and hung up. And I got so mad that I made the change. So the reason I bring this up is because when I process stuff with people and they come in and they say, you know, I've had a really bad week, or I lost a friend, or Charlie Kirk, and this has really hurt me. My first reaction is to do tough love. Like, you can't afford to feel that way right now. You need to suck it up. You need to get out there. You need to be the voice of reason. You have family, you have friends, you have a job. And it makes me seem harder than I am. But this one, I have not done that. And the reason why I haven't done that is because I'm struggling with it too, because I feel that this is our John F. Kennedy moment for our generation.
I agree.
He's our Martin Luther King. So can I just ask you the question? That was a long way around the barn. What did Charlie mean to you? How did he impact your life? And why do you think this one is so different than other situations that have been so traumatic over the last couple of decades? I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Oh, if I can get through it without crying. I've been crying ever since this happened. And I thought I was put together, because I'm starting to process it now. It's starting to be real. It's starting to feel real. And I'm sure many of us are feeling that too. First and foremost, I'm a mom. And I always felt like I was a very, very good mom. I have 2 adult daughters and love them with everything that I have. And you're a parent, you understand that. But I started following him. I think I found him in 2020, right after Trump lost the election. And that's when he kind of reeled me in. And I think it's just because he is around my children's age. He's so smart. He was articulate, also very handsome, I thought, but just such, I just respected him. I mean, you could just tell he was sincere in everything he did, and he was kind. He was gentle, and he came into my home every day. I mean, I would be, doing my things around the house, taking care of my animals. I'm a big animal person, so I have many that I take care of. And I have him on in the background and listening to him debate and just the kindness. Then he gets married. And then I follow him through the journey of being a father. And seeing him and his wife and his children and his daughters and how much he loved his family, and to think that those kids aren't going to ever know him. That's the part that really gets me the most. Not that he's gone, and I am sad that he is gone, because I feel like he had so much more work to do. But I heard, was it Nick Freitas? I think you follow him too. I saw a clip of his this morning.
Oh,
and
it was
really
great.
said it.
So great.
Yes, he said he was the big brother to many young men.
Yes.
He nailed it. He nailed it. He might have been the big brother to many young, influential guys. And they say, and I think I've heard you say that, you know, a lot of young men helped Trump win the election this time because he converted them over. They started thinking for themselves and they had someone to identify with. But I kind of also, maybe I looked at him as a little bit of a son I never had.
Sure.
And that's who I would have wanted him to be, is like Charlie Kirk. And, you know, it's hard to put into words. I don't know this guy. I've never met him. I never got a chance to shake his hand. But I think there's so many people like myself. You have a lot of followers who listen to you every night. A lot of us moms, a lot of us older women. I say older women. I'm almost 59 this month. But, you know, just so much admiration and just so many thoughts of why can't more young men be like him, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't have to agree with him on everything. And we've talked about that. You know, some of his views were a little bit extreme.
Yeah.
Not extreme in a bad way. I understand where he's coming from. I grew up in a very Christian home, Southern Baptist. And I had that, you know, the wrath of God, you know, coming down on me and just, you know, living my life a certain way. And I've kind of backslid a little bit, but my faith is still there and my faith is still strong. And I think that's why I'm having a hard time, is the people he's left behind, his wife. And, you know, when I was a young mom, one of my biggest fears, and I'm sure Olivia felt this too, is please, Lord, don't take me before my kids are grown, because I want to see them grow up. And I think I'm coming from it at the mom perspective, as I'm looking at it through the eyes of his little girl. And I saw a clip recently of him on, I think it was Fox and Friends, and he was sitting there with the panel. And after they were done with the TV, his little girl comes running out to him. And they never showed the pictures of his faces, of the kids' faces, which I think was a very smart thing to do. And she's never going to know her dad. And I'm really struggling with that. And why am I struggling with that? I know my dad's still around. I'm blessed to have my mom and dad. My mom and dad were very young when they had me. I'm almost 59. My mom was 18. My dad was 21. And my parents are still both alive. And people go, oh, you don't know how lucky you are. Trust me, I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I see them every time that I can, even though they're in Indiana, I'm in North Carolina. I make every opportunity to go visit my family because I realize how important it is. So I think I'm also taking the long way around. Why am I taking this so hard? Because he was a constant in my life. And Matt, you and Olivia are too. You guys are there with me every day. And I've had some bad days. Yeah. And I'm glad I found you.
Well,
I tell my husband all the time, he doesn't listen to you every night like I do. He listens to a lot of other people, but he'll pull his chair up, and sometimes I'm like, hey, listen to what Matt said. And he'll listen and he'll just agree. But I forgot what my point was with that.
It doesn't matter. It's what you need to, it's what you need to say. So that's doesn't have to have a point.
But I want you to know you're going to get there, Matt. I can see it. And I know you get frustrated, and I know, you've had some challenges. You started off very small, but I found you one day. I remember where I was sitting. I think I was sitting playing with my kittens. Side note, I'm a cat rescuer, so not all cat people are crazy liberals. Just FYI.
Okay. All right. You're the one exception.
You have no idea. I am an anomaly in this world, and I have thought about leaving it many times because some of these people I have to associate with. If I've met them on the outside, I wouldn't like them.
Don't do that. Stay.
No.
Yeah, you're needed.
I stay for the kitties, and I stay for them because it's such a tremendous. It's kind of my mission. Your mission is what you're doing. Your podcast, talking to people and changing minds. And you're doing the same thing, Matt, that Charlie Kirk was doing, but in a different way. And I want you to know that. You and Olivia, and I'm so glad Olivia became part of your show, because I remember watching you when you couldn't even get her on air.
Yeah, I know. God, that was
she would hide her face.
That was like pulling teeth to get her on, but she helps She does. She keeps my balance, and she has no problem with slapping me around once in a while for sure.
Yeah. And you two are great together. I love your dialogue between the two of you. I enjoy watching you two, but I will tell you, even if you were by yourself, you have enough wisdom, knowledge, and you speak so eloquently. You do reach a lot of people, and I want you to remember that because you have a mission. And I was meant to find you because you have brought so much, what's the word I want to use? Solace to me. You've reaffirmed some of the things that I have been feeling, and I'm going, you know what? I'm right. I'm absolutely right for feeling this way because not only do I feel this way, but I know millions of others do because Matt said it.
Yeah. Well,
now I don't blindly follow you.
No, I don't think you do. I don't think anyone does. Sometimes it would be easier if it would just be like, listen, enough, but it doesn't work.
Yeah. But I just think your show has value, your content has value, and you are wicked smart. I don't know how you got this way. It sounds like you had some rough beginnings. It sounds like you've had challenges in your life. And I appreciate who you are now, but I don't think you realize how smart you are and how knowledgeable you are. I've learned so much from you. I feel stupid sometimes. I'm like, God, this guy can say things that I could never, spit out as eloquently as you do.
Wow.
So keep doing what you're doing. And I've never called in before because I just sit and listen. I'll comment with some of your other followers. I know you have a really good following of constant people who are there every night. I would be there every night, but I work usually 3 to 11. So your show comes on when I'm at work.
You're busy.
Yeah, I call it my little part-time job. I work at Target. I know Target got a lot of backlash a year or two ago.
Yeah.
But you've been in retail. Not everyone that works at Target is a crazy lib.
No,
There are
I know
a lot
that
of
for
conservatives
sure.
at my store. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just kind of suck it up, you hold your breath, and you go, you know what, I don't agree with this philosophy, but my store, they're really good to me. And I do it because it's away from rescue, which is very hard. Rescue is a very hard, demanding, emotionally draining volunteer job. I don't get paid for it, but I put a lot into it. So you're my escape. You and Olivia, your show, listening to your content, even if it's at 2:00 in the morning, sometimes it's 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm in bed listening to you guys and I'm going, yeah, agreeing with everything you guys are saying. But circling back to the whole Charlie Kirk thing, I wasn't able to listen to you that night while it was all playing out. I was at work trying to compose myself because this happened right as I was pulling into work.
That had to be hard.
It was awful. And my leader said, Dawn, go outside, take as much time as you want. She too is a conservative. But work kept me busy. And then when I got home, the first thing I did was tune into the DUM show. I got to hear what Matt's saying. I know he's going to talk us through this. We're going to work it out. And it was like a big group hug. So I know that sounds corny, but I just want you to know that. And don't give up your show. I'm hoping you will become monetized again and you'll be reeling in the big bucks. And I think you're going to make it big, man. I really do. I feel it.
I
feel it.
I'll tell you, Don, here's my biggest fear. And Keith, you did fine. I shut up. So if I shut up, I'm talking to Keith in chat. If I shut up and said, okay, I'm going to listen, then you obviously did fine because that doesn't happen very often. But Dawn, I'll tell you, there is a certain level of ill authentic behavior that's necessary to be successful in this business. Or you have to be altruistic. And the best example I can give you is Dana Perino. 100% authentic, just a good human being, and is so excellent at just being a great person. Harold Ford Jr.,
right?
Another perfect example of a liberal who is a real and authentic person. They don't come around very often.
I agree. And he, like you, I could vote. I could see myself voting for that man.
Oh, I would vote. If he ran for president, I'd vote for him tomorrow. I don't care who the Republican candidate is. Harold Ford Jr. should be president. He is just...
Even over J.D. Vance? Would you vote for him over J.D. Vance?
Really? Yes, 100%. Yep. Yeah, because this country needs it. This country needs somebody who is practically a a person who can see both sides of an argument without taking
Mm-hmm.
one. He is
Mm-hmm.
so good at saying, listen,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with everything President Trump's saying. However, you also need to see the other side of this equation. And he puts it in a way that doesn't threaten or misconstrue for their own benefit. He is always about you understanding, not you agreeing with him. And I love that. But
Right.
I look at people who are also extremely good at what Dana and Harold Ford Jr. do, but they're not authentic. And they can just fake it. And they can fake it. And a good person would be Dave Rubin. He's just he can fake it. He wants to say go F yourself. But he doesn't. And he has learned how to cultivate his personality to be a little bit false, but still generally a good person where you don't question him. There are plenty of people who do that very, very well. And I see broadcasters doing that. And I don't have that. I don't have that capability. I don't know how to be fake with people. I am honest. I give you my opinion when it's opinion, and when it's fact, there is no argument. I don't know if that's going to be very popular.
I think you're raw, but raw in a good way. We don't want phony people out there. We don't want people to sugarcoat things. It's just like a woman when you go and you try on a dress and you say to whoever you're with, "Tell me, how do I look in this?" I want you to be honest with me. I don't want you to sugarcoat it to make me feel better.
That's a woman's trap. That is a woman's trap. That is Admiral Akbar. That's a trap. It's like, don't answer honestly. I'm like, you look more beautiful than the day I met you. And she's like, are you lying to me? And I'm like, no. You know.
Don't do that. Be honest.
Here's the thing that I will say is, I understand my faults more than people know. I take things personally. There's no doubt, and I get frustrated sometimes that I keep having to say the same things. There's no doubt about it. That's my shortcoming. Keith pointed it out tonight. And comparison, he's right. It doesn't matter. I can't justify it. That's my saying that I love more than anything is comparison is absolutely the destroyer of creativity. And I need to follow that, and I need to listen to him. So I'm going to take that to heart. And there's not a but here. It's the fact that even with Charlie, I told people that he was gone, and I didn't say the words, but I tried to break the news because I didn't want them to feel betrayed that I said there was hope. And we did the prayer and we took a moment, but I knew the moment I saw the shot that he was gone. And there was you can't survive that. He was gone. And
Matt, those are shots. I really wish. That's the thing with social media now. You go on, you look at a reel, next thing you know, you're seeing things you really didn't want to have ingrained in your head. I did not want to see that image of this man being taken out. That also, I think many of us saw unwillingly. Well, I guess you can't say it's unwillingly if you're on social media, but we all are. And I didn't want to see him die like that. I don't think he deserved it.
But that was his testament. Hold on a second.
Dog, I know.
Dawn, hold on a second. Now, this is where I jump in. Is you were a witness. And just like the crucifixion of Christ, there were witnesses and they didn't want to see it. And some did. Some rejoiced. Some celebrated it. Some people, they reveled in it. And others were repulsed by it. And when the disciples were rounded up and were also crucified, nobody wanted to see it. But if it wasn't seen and there was no witness to it, then we wouldn't know about it. And I have a completely different take, although the image is horrible. And when I think of Charlie Kirk, that's all I see. I have every single moment. But here's the thing. I am honored to have witnessed it because now I can tell the tale. And now I can tell it with as much conviction as people did the witness of the crucifixion of Christ. Because although he is not Christ and although he is not God, he was a child of God. And he spoke with the truest form of light that I have heard anyone speak. And we have been we have been riddled with mega churches and SNL and people who have just grifted off of religion and never spoken to its testament with as much purity as Charlie did. And whether we agree with everything he said. So you are a witness to what he did. And unfortunately, I don't look at it that way.
But he's also lit a fire. This has lit a fire in many of
Sure
us
it has.
too. To see this, to see the way that he was taken out. You don't even do that to a dog.
No,
and
you don't.
And his kids are going to see it one day. So all of these things are going through my head, and I know I speak for many of the moms out there, many dads too. You know, there's just so much trauma in all of this, and I do take solace when you said that he didn't feel it. He was gone.
Oh yeah, instantaneously.
It gives me a little bit of breathing room. It really does, Matt. It gives me some breathing room to know. But I know he's in a better place. I get it. But I feel like we needed Charlie here a little longer. And I would say the same thing about you. We need you here until you're old and gray and you can no longer talk. So I hope, that you stick around.
I don't know.
for a
Strokes
long
and
time.
heart attacks are pretty common in the family. That might be sooner than we all think, especially with the level of
You
stress.
look like you're really good. Matt, you look like you're in good health. I think you take good care of yourself.
I do. But you know what? Tomorrow is promised to no one because it's already tomorrow in Australia.
That's right.
Right? It's already tomorrow
My
in
dad,
Australia.
my dad always says, Dawn, you never know. He said, your coughing could have come in 2 days ago. And I'm
That's
like,
right.
oh God, Dad, let's not talk.
But
And he's been saying that since I was young. He's a realist.
yeah, like the thing that people fail to realize when it comes to mortality is that they've been preparing for this day for their entire life.
Right.
So
Amen. Yeah.
fearing it is a waste of the life that you have. If the consummation is you want more life, then you should probably stop worrying about death because you're literally surrendering the life that you currently are gifted. So
Absolutely.
I always try to help people understand is that I'm not afraid. And I'm not afraid because I have God, because trust me, I struggle with that. I fight for it every day. I've got my little Lego Jesus right here that was given to me by Amy. I've got my Bible. I've got my armor on, and I'm trying hard to have faith.
Yeah. You're growing. You're growing. And you just don't automatically wake up one day and go, okay, I'm here. I mean, I was raised in the church, and I kind of grew in my faith, because my mom made me go to church every Sunday. She said, you know what? You're not going to let the devilitis, as she used to call it, devilitis. And she was right.
Yeah.
Didn't want to get up and go. And I'm glad my mom made me go. I'm glad she gave me that foundation.
I think the great thing is that you don't need to necessarily love Jesus in order to understand Jesus. I think that Jesus loves you. And if you can just understand that, then you're on the path to enlightenment, So my thing is that I've never denied Jesus exists. I just have simply said I didn't know. And now I'm saying that if Jesus exists, I'm here and I'm ready. I'm ready for salvation. And I think there will become a point where I say, I've received that salvation in my own mind and soul, and now I'm ready to help others get there. That's where I find myself going. Like I'm getting there closer every day. I'm using more references. I'm not feeling ashamed anymore that I'm somehow using God to benefit myself. As soon as I can get there, I think that's the day that I graduate, and hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're going to get there, Matt. And I think Charlie Kirk was a great example. He was preaching it without being preachy. If you know what I mean? He was living his truth. He was a living example of what God would want him to say and to do. And he lived his actions. He loved his wife. He loved his baby girl. He loved his little boy. And it was so evident in those of us who followed him. And why are all of us who have never met this man taking it so hard? I don't know if I could ever put it into words, but we are. And I'm now starting to process this and going, okay, he's gone. I've watched enough videos. I've heard enough commentary. But going back, I appreciate you and Olivia being there for your audience, for people who have found you, who will continue to find you. And I kind of felt like it was one big group hug without actually hugging.
Yeah.
To just hear your commentary, hear your analysis in the people that you've had on your show. Then I heard Nick Freitas this morning saying, there's all these trolls online celebrating, and they're just showing their ignorance and they're showing their hate. And I don't want those people in my life, but glad you were there. I'm glad you are still here for all of us who have found the DUM show and, communicate by way of your show. And, again, I can't be there every night to watch you guys live, but I'm always there early in the morning when you're in bed and following you guys.
I'm not in bed, Dawn. When you comment on the page live, I'm there, and I've answered you many times. You'll sit there and you'll write something.
You have?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Trump, do you ever sleep though, Matt?
No. I get about
really?
4.5 to 5 hours a night at best.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it's not, I'm not tired. I go to bed usually around 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm up at 600 to 5:30 every morning, and I start to work, and I'm not tired. I just don't need sleep. I've never needed sleep.
There's a lot of people like that. My mom's the same way. She survives on maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep at night too. She's never been a good sleeper, and I think there are some people wired like that. Me, I'm still like a teenager, and I'm almost 59 years old. I could sleep 12 hours a day and go, oh, I need more sleep.
Oh, I want to.
So,
my mind won't let me. I roll over and I'm like, oh, I got an idea.
Yeah.
And so
it's
that's
because you got so much going in your head.
Unfortunately, yeah, I don't know how to shut it off, and that's my problem. And I appreciate you saying. I'll close it out with this, and then we'll jump off because I got to go.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
When you talk about, I appreciate your comments about intelligence, and that's not the way it always was. As you said that I struggled at times, and I did. I suffered from severe attention deficit disorder. And I always had a very high IQ. I had a 12th grade reading level when I was 6 years old. So I grew up. I grew up with books. My mom was a manager of B. Dalton Bookseller, and she would bring books and tear off the front covers, and she was able to take those home because that's what they would do. They would tear off, and they would get credit for the books. And instead of shipping thousands of pounds of books back, they would just ship back the front cover. Well, she'd bring these home, and I would read them, and I had a very, very large mental block, and I was not able to comprehend the things that I learned. And I couldn't conceptualize things. So, for instance, the distance of the Earth, I thought the Earth was 2-3 million miles around. I thought in the United States, all the continents were inside the United States landmass. I didn't understand and couldn't conceptualize math, basic, addition and subtraction. I struggled with. But when I would take placement tests, I was able to understand algebraic equations or geometry at a very young age, and I couldn't explain how. So I had to unlock this part of my brain, and I believe that the reason why I'm able to articulate things and understand things at the level that I am is that I really didn't use my brain to its full potential until I was probably 20 years old, and when I joined the military and I went into an intel, this isn't an easy class. I mean, it's very, very difficult. It's very complex. And I excelled, and I don't understand why, because I dropped out of high school. I think I had a 0.96 as my GPA. I was kicked out of the Ventura school districts and California school districts. And but I would always place high on tests, but I was hyperactivity and everything else. So at a very young age, I was put on Ritalin and lithium, and which killed me. Adult doses of Ritalin. Oh yeah, no, I had chronic nosebleeds. I would wake up with night terrors. I would go into, I would convulse and go into catatonic states on this medication. It was horrible. So there was so much trauma at a very young age that I believe it's not that I had learning disabilities, is that I stopped my ability to input and process things. And it really took the military to get it out of me. And it took a level of fear. And I remember my first morning of basic, and up at 0400 in Chicago, Great Lakes, and I came off the rack and I was convulsing. I was shaking. I was so terrified and petrified. And that my RDC backed off of me because he thought I was going to hit the deck and go into shock. And at that moment, something came over me. I don't know what it was. I didn't want to go in the military. I did it because I didn't have any more options. And I wanted the payoff, but I didn't want the work. And that I walked over to my bed, my rack, and I started to make it to the best of my ability, not knowing what the specifications were. And I stopped, and something happened. I don't know what happened, but I literally I froze, and I just said, I'm going to do this wrong, and I'm going to pay for it. And I'm going to stop right now, and I'm going to go ahead and stand at the end of my rack, and I'm not going to continue to make my rack. And I did. And I stood at attention, and my RDC came over, and he just lighted to me. What the fuck, semen, sperm, what the fuck are you doing, you stupid motherfucking... And then I said, sir, I'm not going to proceed without orders, sir. And direction, sir. And he says, everyone, abandon ship. And everyone pushes their racks out of the way. And they start doing push-ups and sit-ups. And I'm standing at attention. He tells me not to move. And everyone else is pushing gravity. And he's like, you stupid sons of bitches have an option. If you want to stop doing it, you better figure out the answer. And everybody is just pushing. And this must have been an hour. And we're literally making it rain inside. There's so much condensation and so much sweat. It's literally dripping from the ceiling. And they're making it rain. And people are just, and I am still sitting there feeling like Gomer Pyle and not having to do any physical activity while the rest of the unit does. And I'm like sitting here going, I am going to get blanket partied. I'm going to get killed. And all of a sudden, a person stands up at attention, stops PT, and stands at attention at the end of their rack. And then a couple of other people do it. And it felt like a slow clap moment because people started to realize, and what the fuck are you doing? And then boom, the RDCs were on them and in their face. And they just said, I'm not gonna proceed without instruction and wait for your direction, sir. And only about 10 or 15 people did that in that area. Then he walks over to me and he goes, Spear, you're the fucking squad leader. Don't fuck it up.
Wow.
And pardon the language, but at that point, there was something that clicked in me that leadership was possible if you just slowed down and you overcame your fears and thought. And that was probably my most influential moment of my life. And I didn't lose squad leader. I kept it throughout boot camp. I made honor man of our class. And it was just, it just unlocked for me. So like the only thing.
Thanks for sharing that. With us,
Dawn,
Matt.
I'm sorry. That was a long
that.
time. I'm sorry for the length of that. The point is quickly is that everyone has a moment in time where they get to eclipse their own limitations. And if you don't recognize it, you don't slow down and don't watch, you'll miss it. And I think too many people miss their moment. That was my long story. So thanks for listening.
I appreciate you sharing that moment with all of us. So, but I know you have to run, and
Yes,
I
ma'am.
do as well. Thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
for listening to my phone call, and I'm glad I was able to call in. I usually am not one to do that, but I listen and take it all in. But I had the moment and the time, and I think with the whole Charlie Kirk assassination, and I just wanted, and I was going to email you, and I haven't had a chance to do that. I'm like, screw it, I'm just going to call you and say thank you for being there for so many of us, because we needed a shoulder to cry on, and without you realizing that you were.
Thank you for
You
being
and Olivia
there.
both.
Thanks for being there. Sorry I cussed a couple times. Thanks for listening to me. I appreciate you.
Oh, God, I'm used to it. I've been with you for 3 years. And by the way,
Yes,
I've been with Damani for 5. I don't know when he started sharing his content, but I want to say it was around the time.
2020. Yeah,
When?
2020.
I was going to say, I think 2020 is when I first found him. And that's also when I found Charlie Kirk. So I'm glad that I brought you into the fold, because you guys are all just brilliant.
He's one of my best friends. I love Damani more than we talk every day, it seems, and we text each other back. And that is the friendship that I will covet for the rest of my life. I love that guy, like, more than you know.
Maybe that's how I found you. Maybe his algorithm and me watching it led me to your algorithm. Who knows? But I'm glad, and glad to follow some brilliant minds.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Matt. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Don. God bless. Thank you.
All right.
What a good call. I love that woman. Yeah, like I guess that's the message. And I know I kind of snapped into history at that point and kind of went back in the past. But for me, that was the moment that I understood leadership was possible. And that's what unlocked it for me, is Petty Officer Zabrowski lighting me up like a Christmas tree. And I don't know. It was a moment that it meant the world to me. So I think it's a good place to end it. We're going to be back on at 7 o'clock tonight. Olivia will be here. I want to say thank you for everybody in your donations. 1,414 people. That's amazing. That blows me away. I haven't seen any other donations, so that's good. I'm not going to worry about it. $86.99 is fine. It doesn't matter. Tonight was today was a day of celebration to see that the assassin the suspect has been apprehended, and now there's a trial, and the person is innocent until proven guilty. I understand they admitted. I understand they turned themselves in, but let's wait and see what happens. But it is a day of celebration, and now we can start to go through the process of the trial, and hopefully he'll be brought to justice to a level that we can remember Charlie Kirk in a way. But I want you all to remember, when you say, I shouldn't have watched the video, I didn't want to watch the video, you were a witness. And although that's a terrible thing to see, it's a testament to Charlie Kirk. And the feeling that you had is not that it was violent and horrible and just permanent. It's the fact that he was beautiful, and the way he was taken away from us was tragic, and we can't forget it. We can't. We are the witnesses to what happened, and we must keep his memory alive and tell the story, because one day this will be important. Somebody will need to hear this. And whether it's the person who picks up his mic, like Damani says, we all need to continue to do and move through this with as much effort and patience and determination now more than ever, because this isn't the last. This isn't over. This will continue until we can figure out how to come together again as a country. And I am a part of the division too. I'm aware of that, as we're all sinners. So appreciate you guys. We'll see you at 7 o'clock tonight. Thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate you. Love you. Thanks for sharing. See ya.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.